Let me know when you're ready. Ready. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. It is 2 p.m. in council chambers at Sandpoint City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street, Sandpoint, Idaho. And this regular meeting of the Selkirk Fire Service Joint Powers Board is now called to order. For the record, I am Jennifer Stapleton, Board Executive Director presiding. Also present are the members of the board, Rich Townsend, representing the Sago Fire District, Sandpoint City Councilor Kate McAllister, representative for the City of Sandpoint, and Will Gadsby, to my right, representing the West Side Fire District. Chief Gavin Gilcrease will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we proceed with our agenda this afternoon, because amendments to the agenda were posted less than 48 hours prior to the meeting, the amended agenda cannot become effective without a motion and vote of the board. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the following amendments to the agenda. The addition of item number 8, discussion of mutual aid agreements, and item number 9, decision to convene into executive session.
So moved.
I second.
Councilor McAllister? Yes. Commissioner Townsend?
Yes.
Commissioner Gadsby?
Yes.
Motion passes, and we will proceed with the amended agenda. Madam Clerk, do you have any members of the public participating remotely on Zoom today?
We do not.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public that would like to address the JPA board in the room? Okay. Are there any general announcements from board members or staff?
Yes, I would like to thank the chief and the firefighters for bringing Santa Claus to town on Friday after Thanksgiving. It was wonderful. We had probably 700 people there. So it was really, really great. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. We will now proceed with approval of the meeting minutes from the October 26th meeting. And if anyone cares to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I motion to approve the minutes of October 26th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes and the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the chief's report, and I will yield the floor to Fire Chief Gavin Gilcrease.
Excellent. Thank you everybody for being here. Let's see, so we didn't have any anniversaries for this month. We always like to start off with those, but this is the month where we just don't have any. The announcements we have, crews are still going through their finishing up their medical physicals, SCBA and SCBA fit testing, as well as their physical readiness testing. That should all be wrapping up here, I think, by the end of the week. We're hoping if weather permits. I think there's only a few left to get through on that. The incident review, this will be for the month of October, is the Sago had 67, Sandpoint had 69, and Westside had 35 for a total of 131 incidents. The plan is when we get to the January meeting is to have the November, December numbers at that meeting, as well as our final grouping for the year for our medical runs, where we track those out as ALS and ILS and traumas and medicals and stuff. Get that completed, and that'll be in the January meeting report. Personnel, right now we have 2 openings. We have 2 out on FMLA and 1 on workers' comp. We have 2 new hires that are in the process right now. They both accepted their offer for the positions, and they are currently going through their medical physicals and are forecasted to come aboard that first week of January. Training, the Recruit Academy, the one that we had in partnership with Northside and Schweitzer, is finishing up. They're in their final days. I think their last class is this week. They graduate next, I don't remember what day it is. It's December the 12th. Yeah, December the 12th. And that'll be at 6 p.m. at the Bonner County Building and the EOC room on the first floor. They'll do their graduation. And I think a few of them are gonna come over to Sandpoint Station after the graduation, just to take some pictures next to the rigs and do that. So that'll be awesome. We have the other thing, a train deputy chief and engineer, Troy Bordeaux are on their way back they went to and attended a fire service technology conference. They were there this past week. We have been kind of looking back and forth at new, records management systems. And we knew that, just trying to shop it and just trying to shop those out to see, best bang for the buck. We found out that ESO has completed their buyout of emergency reporting. So they're going to sunset emergency reporting, just like they did Firehouse, and that is going to end in December of 25. So we have to find a new RMS or conform and go to ESO, and ESO is not cheap. So that's one of the tasks that I sent them there, not only to, go through the normal stuff of, looking at the possibility of a drone program, but also to look at these RMS systems and find out what's available and what's going to be there. The trend lately has been, no matter what you go to, ESO is going to buy it out in the next couple of years, and then you're stuck again. The last one we looked at, ESO, I think came in at I think we're paying about 3,000 or something like that a year for what we're doing now. ESO is like 20, and that's just insane. So, the maintenance as far as apparatus go, annual service on apparatus is still, being accomplished and scheduled. This is the first time that we've gone outside and had them all done third party. It has just been, I talked to our maintenance rep yesterday. It's been a little clunky just because apparatus have kind of been out of position or out of service. And as we get them back in service, they're getting scheduled to go in there and have that stuff done. Projects that we have ongoing right now is a lot of just the end of the year catch up and wrapping up some of the projects that we had going on during the year. We didn't have time to finish those. And we also are in the process of reviewing our operations policies. And that is with the deputy fire chief, and he has a committee, that's together looking at those, and that's about our response policies and things like that. And that is it for the chief's report.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief today? Appreciate the report. Sarah, financial report.
All right, we just started our new fiscal year, so we have October's, the first month of the year, actuals in front of you for the different stations. You see that broken down by the wages, overtime, and benefits, with the totals and total budget spent year to date. And then also the JPA for October as well. I'd like to point out on the October JPA is that there are a few expenses that come through the year that are either paid twice a year, like the insurance, prep is paid twice a year. So that's why you see a big dollar amount in October for that, but then you won't see it again for another 6 months. So it does skew that first month a little bit with that big one coming through, but the next several months you won't see that at all. So other than that, everything else looks in line with there's a couple, if you have any additional question that wages and benefits or overtime, that's the chief can elaborate on that. But other than that, it looks very trending as normal.
So on finance services, I see for this first report, we're up over in terms of what we had projected percentage wise for budget with that. Is that related again to the extra time with the different pay periods and manually doing time sheets
For overtime? No.
for financial services? At
Oh, for
percentage
financial
of it.
services, yes, most likely, yes. It's tracking real time of what's actually being spent on it. So,
Okay.
yes.
All right, because we had some discussions about changes with pay
Well,
periods potentially.
I will have to note that anytime we have FMLA issues going on or any type of different pay things, it adds a lot of time on the back end of it because we're on a 24-day versus a 14-day. We have to reconcile that every time, and it's a lot of on the back end. So,
And our HR person is tracking the time specific to fire, so we know how much her time is spent.
you mean from the financial
Right.
services? Oh, yes, yes. So like the people who do payroll, they do every hour, actually even down to the 15 minutes of what they're tracking their time to.
The
Is HR
HR.
in that line? Is that
That's central services.
Oh, it's in the line below.
Yes.
Okay.
Think in terms of our HR services, when we originally developed cost estimates for the JPA, we had estimated of our HR manager fire based on total number of personnel across the organization, about 18% of her time. She's doing actual tracking, and it's constituting fire services specifically is about 35% of her time.
Whoa,
So,
that's quite a difference.
yeah. There's no other questions or concerns on the financial report. We'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is a discussion of mutual aid agreements. So Chief, I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, I thought I had one printed out, if that's okay, if it's draft. So I've been working with, Northside, Fire in working with them on an auto aid agreement. So in the realm of fire service, you're either, it's auto aid or it's mutual aid. The biggest difference is being, either built into the response system in the dispatch, computer aided dispatch is part of that, or picking up the mic and physically having to call the next agency to come in and respond with you. Currently, with Northside, we roll pretty much with them on all of their structure fires. They roll with us, almost every one of ours that we have. And just try to get into an interagency agreement, interlocal agreement with them as far as automatic aid. So that way we don't have to think about it anymore. It's built into the dispatch system. When they have a fire or we have a fire, it automatically just picks them up and brings them and dispatches them to the fire, or dispatches us to their fire. Working with Chief Midden at Northside, we think we pretty much have it down to the final draft. We did make one more adjustment to it late last week, and that was for emergency medical response. Not all the fire departments in the county respond to medical incidents the same way or in the same capacity. So we wanted to make sure that we cover it, but in such a way that we don't do it the same way as Northside does it. So if they don't go to a particular type of call or a level of service for that type of call, dispatch isn't reaching and pulling us to go cover all those calls, because Northside wouldn't go to those anyway. So it's basically just to hammer that out. And I think the last thing we put in there was something about individual districts or individual agencies will just respond to their individual medical calls as they have it outlined in an agreement with Bonner County EMS. Because we're all on the same page, and they know that they have different levels of service coming from all the different departments. So, and we're quite a ways away from everybody being able to respond at the same level, as far as the fire departments go. Some will only go to basic calls, some don't do medical at all. Some will do, advanced, but they don't do anything else, and they'll only do it if they call them. So we just wanted to stay in concert with that. What I'm looking for from you guys is possibly the next time that we have our meeting in January. I want to send this off to legal just to make sure that it's all, all the I's and T's are dotted and crossed, and then have a final product for you guys at the next one so that we can make it an action item. And then send it over to Northside so that way they can review it as well. And then we would just enter into that with them. That's it.
Can you talk about status of mutual aid agreements with across the county and
Oh, sure.
that with the rest of the fire chiefs? I know we talked about it briefly this week, but
Sure.
could you fill in the board?
The Bonner County Fire Chiefs Association has a mutual aid agreement between all of the fire agencies in the county. Basically, if you call, they're coming. There are not a lot of them. I think East Priest Lake is going to start setting up an auto aid agreement. Just because they are so far out, the different departments that are up there, they want to all get into their own auto aid. They wouldn't be a viable option for us in auto aid. We're just too far away. But the mutual aid agreement that we have, we're going to be bringing that one back up in January at the Bonner County Chiefs meeting because it needs to be updated. It hasn't been updated in a few years. There's been a lot of turnover in the last few years, and some of the things that were in that mutual aid agreement are not relevant anymore. So it's going through some edits as well. But we like to always have that one in our back pocket because if you need help and you need a call, then everybody's on the same page in their comment. So.
And previously with Northside was mutual aid covered under that broader Bonner County
Yes,
mutual aid agreement. We have not had a automatic aid agreement
I
with,
can't find one anywhere.
with Northside. That's new.
Correct.
And the difference is for me, the blanket one is you can call if you need help.
Mhm.
The auto aid it's sort of an automatic dispatch
Right.
as a backup for a call that you
Yeah,
have.
exactly. I think it is a handshake agreement with Timberlake for auto aid in the southern part of the Sagal district, south of Carywood down towards Athol.
Right.
I can't find one that is dated any time that I can see that's an auto aid. It hasn't been renewed. At least the one that I saw was from ages ago. And that was for those in the room, that was the Bayview neighborhood has kind of gone back and forth between, it was with Sagal at one time that went to Timberlake, and Timberlake wanted to give it back because they're saying we can beat them there, that kind of stuff. So that was kind of like an auto aid, and some of that stuff is already built into the cards at dispatch, but I don't think everything is built as it should be. So we want to do this one with Northside, and then use this one as our boilerplate to do a new or maybe an updated one with Timberlake. So we can, because we call them very frequently on the south end of our response area, as do they call us a lot as well, so.
What about West Ponderay?
West Ponderay is, I like West Ponderay for the west side of the Sagal district and the west side of West Side district. So I have talked with Chief Payton out there. He's interested in doing it as well. He is trying to get some more. He can't commit to it yet because it's still all volunteer, and he doesn't have a way that he can guarantee enough people to be on the truck to respond. So that's his only hurdle right now. I know they're working towards adding some part-time folks. But he says he's still good with mutual aid for right now, but as he adds some positions, then he's going to be interested in that as well. So, yeah, we've been talking about that.
I didn't realize they're volunteer.
Yep. I think it's him and the chief is paid, and I think the deputy is a part-time paid position, but they're working on putting on some part-time folks on their trucks. It's just, he didn't want to commit because one day he could have 15 people and the next day he may not have but one. So he wants to make sure that he can commit to it. Did that answer?
Yes.
Anything you were
Yeah,
looking for?
I think it's.
And also in the auto aid stuff, auto aid it's very important that the jurisdictions that are in auto aid agreements are operating off the same sheet of music. Especially when it comes to operations, that is pretty much the only place where we live in operations is in auto aid. So that's another reason that we're doing our operational policies and update to that, because we have to make sure that not only we're operating from those, but we're both training on those the same. So that way everybody knows what to expect when they get there, and it doesn't look like a three-ring circus full of hobos and nobody knows what's going on. Keystone Cops kind of stuff, but with fire trucks. We don't want that to happen.
So is that any different? How you approach training, how you're approaching coordination, operating procedures, any different between agencies that are in a mutual aid agreement as opposed to the auto aid?
I think it is, because I think the mutual aid folks, you're a little more on your own. It's you're kind of on an island, you're doing your own thing until it's called. We try to, with the county chiefs, we're trying to set up some of those multi-agency trainings. We've done a couple, but we're trying to set those up on a more regular basis. It's just the outside of, the north side, Selkirk, core in our county. It's really difficult to get folks together to do those multi-agency trainings unless they're planned way in advance. And it's tough for some of those folks to forecast out their availability that far.
So that will look different with Northside though, and Selkirk moving forward under the auto aid.
Right, it's we're doing some of those things now with Northside. It's just gonna lend a little bit more formality to it and a little more structure to the way the training is set up.
And previously, before we were in the JPA together as agencies, was the countywide mutual aid agreement between the fire agencies, that was what was covering the relationship between the three agencies? I
Yes.
don't think we had auto
They
aid
should,
agreement.
they should have been in a mutual aid. I think that mutual aid has been, it seemed like it was done year over year, up until about 2017-ish or 2018. And then it kind of just, I think the last one I saw was in 20. I think they did one in 20, and I know that the East Priest Lake actually formed a fire department. And I know they needed to be added, and there were some other things that needed to be added. When I got here in 21, we were looking at it. And we just decided that it was a decent document. It just needed to be updated. And the biggest part of that was, getting signatures from people that were, associated with the different agencies. There were some commissioners, things like that, because the chief and the commissioners sign off on that. And some of those folks had left, chiefs had left, changed over. So a lot of commissioners had changed over from other agencies. And so it was just it needed to be updated.
What was the term of that agreement, the mutual aid agreement? Is it ongoing? Is it annual?
I have to go back and look. I think it's just an ongoing one. I think they just
Okay.
updated every couple of years or something like that, or unless something drastic changes and it has to be done before that. But the one that I saw was an old one. Somebody said there was a newer one out there and I haven't seen it yet, so.
That'd be the only suggestion I'd have that maybe you want to consider taking with the fire chiefs is when you have these perpetual agreements. What tends to happen is agencies forget they have them, haven't reviewed the contents of them. So whether you're looking at putting some type of a term on it, so it at least comes up as something that needs to be revisited.
Right.
So I just know how that works across jurisdictions, and no one's seen it, knows the terms of it, doesn't remember they have it, and it just kind of gets lost without there being something that brings it up on a regular basis, not necessarily maybe even so for the fire chiefs, but for the boards to understand what type of relationships they have and the terms of those relationships.
What I've seen is they have a 3-year, not renewal, but just update,
Yeah,
right? So you have to
Yeah.
touch it every 3 years, even if you just go in and say, yep, we're doing it.
And I think that's what happened the last time was yeah, we need to go in and redo it. And then people were like, what is this? This doesn't apply anymore. These people haven't been here and, I don't know how long their signatures have been there. And I think that was kind of what drove it. And we did have a shift in the Chiefs Association because it was a very loosely organized group of individuals and there was not a lot of participation. Now more so, I think more the chiefs are involved with it. So it kind of has gotten back together. And I think that was on the plate. And I think one or two of the folks that just decided they don't want to be a part of it were the ones that actually had the most up-to-date one. So they were trying to hunt stuff down. So I gave them till January. If they didn't have it, then we were just going to redo it.
the same thing too with Northside with the auto aid. I
Right.
think making sure we've got a term in there when that draft comes in here for
Okay.
this board to review. So
Sure.
again, it's something that gets revisited.
Okay.
Excellent. Any other questions for the chief? Nope. Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is an executive session, and I will entertain a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code Section 74-206J to consider labor contract matters.
So moved.
I'll second.
Counselor McAllister,
Yes.
Commissioner Townsend.
Yes.
Commissioner Gatsby,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you to those members of the public who participated this afternoon. Everyone now not participating in executive session will now need to exit the room, please, and Zoom recording will now be stopped. When we reconvene for the remainder of the regular meeting, the Zoom recording will not be restarted as the board will immediately adjourn.
Marlon, is this your jacket?